Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Raiders Ross Report. This is Raider Sparks. Today is Friday, April the 23rd. Thought I'd come on tonight and talk about some of the stuff Mike Mayock's been saying out there. Obviously, he had a big interview the other day with the press, and I just wanted to kind of go over my thoughts on what he said. Also, he gave another interview today with Eddie Pascal, I believe is how you say his last name. It posted on YouTube about 5 hours ago. And in my opinion, it was sort of a cleanup to his original press conference he did about the draft and kind of the state of the team and free agency and stuff like that. It seemed to clean up a lot of things and even add a little bit more to what wasn't in his press conference. I don't know if everybody had a chance to see that, but just wanted to go over that. And then from there, wanted to talk about the Leo position as well because he kind of brought that up today. And so I just wanted to go over that a little bit. And then I know I was going to do receivers and kick returns. We're going to save that for tomorrow, the next day. I do have to finish up my position groups. And after the Leo position, it'll be all offense. So we're getting close to getting our draft together. But let's take a look at some of the things that he had talked about in his press conference. Obviously, the right tackle situation came up, and he mentioned Jared Jones-Smith, which was really interesting. I felt, I'm sure everybody went and Googled it. Sanji went and did a all 22 on him from the days back in Pitt. So I think everybody was kind of scrambling to see who exactly Jared Jones-Smith was. And I think the notable thing that was left out of his press conference was there wasn't a mention about Brandon Parker. I felt that was pretty interesting. So, but anyways, yeah, he said he talked about the line and how they needed to get more athletic. That was his reasoning for liking Jared Jones-Smith. And the reason why to let the other guys go. And I'm not disappointed we let Hudson, Gabe Jackson, or Trent Brown go. I think it was the right move. We had to get cheaper in that regard. And also, I mean, I don't disagree with getting more athletic, especially if we're going to go to a zone blocking scheme. Definitely needed to happen. In the press conference, he also talked about free agency. I thought it was interesting. He singled out Jeff Heath as the lone free safety on the team. He made no mention of Carl Joseph whatsoever. So I felt that was interesting. He also talked about guys that you can get in the third and fourth rounds, kind of in that same text. And so I thought that was interesting insight a little bit. And so, and then, kind of target guys later in the draft. So he's basically saying that through the third or fourth round is some real guys that real value, real good players. The rest of the guys would just be guys you might target later, depth guys, that type of thing. I did want to note that Pascal Douglas, our new DB, his contract was on over the cap, and I couldn't believe they got him for this price, $850K, no guarantee. So that was interesting to me. I thought he would have been getting somewhere up in the $2 to $3 million range, but I guess the Raiders were able to work their magic and get that down quite a bit. So that was an interesting one to me. I thought so. There's no guarantee he makes the team with those numbers, but based on what I saw and the makeup, I do think he'll make the team. It seems like a perfect fit for Gus Bradley, and I think it's somebody that probably will make the team for us. Yeah. So, anyways, that's Rascal Day. I just noticed his contract got posted on Over the Cap, so I thought I'd share it with you. But going back to Mike Mayock, he did talk about opt-outs. He kind of gave the Pac-12 and the Big Ten a pass. Stating that some of these guys might have gotten agents and things like that. So I think when I put my draft together, maybe when you guys are out there putting your draft together, take a look and see where these players play. If they're in the Pac-12 or Big Ten and you have them on your big board as somebody to draft for the Raiders, I wouldn't take them off necessarily because they didn't play in 2020. But guys that are not from that conference and didn't play, you might want to question it because he did. He basically said, hey, yeah, we realize some of these guys might be using this as an excuse. He gave some legit reasons why people might do it, but he also threw that out, and I was like, wow, that's an interesting take on things. So, anyways, those are some of the things. Oh, And the other big takeaway I got from Mayock's press conference was he talked about the defensive tackles, and he said, "Yeah, we have like 7 defensive tackles on our team." I think he said that. He's like, I think he said we have 5. Actually, he said we have 5, 3 techniques and 3 nose tackles. And I'm wondering. I know Hankins is a nose tackle, and then I looked at the roster again, and Niles Scott is on the roster. He's only played in a few games with the Bengals a couple years ago in 18. He's a nose tackle, but the rest of the guys, my understanding, they're all 3 techniques. Jefferson, Thomas, Irving, Dickerson, Fallone, and Vickers are all 3 techniques. So I'm wondering if he who he considers a nose tackle, or if he was just overselling that, and it's possible that we do upgrade, because he did mention we definitely need to get better on the line. That's an area we need to improve, and we're looking for guys to get after the quarterback. So that was said specifically. I'm just wondering if he kind of oversold the nose tackle thing, because I really legitimately only see one as Hankins. I'm not sure Niles Scott's making the team, and I'm not sure who else he considers a nose tackle in that group. But anyways, I thought that was fairly interesting. But let's get back to what he said about Jared Jones-Smith, and I know everybody probably scrambled. I did. I was like, what? Who is this guy? And I'm like, well, let's take a look. So 6'5.5" out of college, 317, 36-inch arms and 10-inch hands. So that falls under Tom Cable's dream list. The long arms and 10-inch hands minimum for what he requires. 88-inch wingspan, a 5'22", which is good. A 177 10 split, which isn't bad. 27 verts, okay. 10.9 broad jump. But then he had a 4.94 short shuttle, which is not the most athletic or agile thing. And he had an 8.10 3-cone again, which isn't very good. So when I saw those numbers, I was like, oh, that's weird, because, Mayock's saying, hey, we need to get more athletic. And then they bring a guy in that's less athletic, like Brandon Parker, 6'6", 305. And he has long arms, 35-inch arms, close to 10-inch hands, 84-inch wingspan, 5'3", 720, 183, 10 split, 28 vert. But he had a 4.68 short shuttle, which is much better, and a 7.82 3-cone, again, much better, much more athletic. That shows the agility to get out on those blocks. And then today, Sanji did a nice all-22 with Jared Jones-Smith, and from his Pittsburgh days. You can see he's a really good pass setter, very good at the pass game. I mean, no issues there, good footwork, good hand technique. Everything was proper in the pass pro. But on blocking, you can see that, and Sanji was being kind to him, but you could see him go out and try to pull and get to the next level. He showed a screen, and he just looked lost on the screen, and some of it was the running back's fault, but it just kind of looked awkward. Some of the plays he did was try to get the linebacker to the next level, just couldn't get there, and it would have taken a very athletic tackle, but you could tell, he wasn't even close to getting there. Some other instances he had just wasn't the proper block, just didn't have the agility to get to where he needed to get to. So I thought that was very interesting. And so I did some more checking, and I noticed about 9 months ago, Fanside put out an article because Jared Jones-Smith joined the 49ers and was trying to make the practice squad. And I noticed some interesting things there. Basically, where the scout said, he's good at pass pro, good footwork, good technique, freakishly long arms, which is true, 36-inch. But they listed him at 6'7", 345. So he went from his college days, 317, he went all the way up to 345. And in that same article, they compared him to, coincidentally, Trent Brown. And they said that he was a poor man's version of Trent Brown. Less athletic, requires, Shanahan's offense requires lateral movement and agility, and Jared J. Jones just doesn't have that, and then that's when they referred to Trent Brown. So I think Mike Mayock was really overselling this, and I think he mentioned it today, or maybe it was in his other interview, but said that how he got in with Tom Cable and a nutrition coach and the weight room, things like that. He's a different looking dude. So I'm not going to put it past Tom Cable to work miracles, but to get a guy that's, compared to Trent Brown just a couple of years ago, and not athletic, and his tape from Pittsburgh show it, his shuttle drills show it, to be able to get him with a nutritionist and in the weight room and make him agile and have that lateral quickness you need is impressive. I mean, if he did, awesome. I hope he did, and I hope he is a different dude. But that is some miracle work happening to get that sort of athleticism out of somebody that just didn't have it for that long. Would be tremendous. I mean, he has the attributes I know Tom Cable would want, but I think that'd be pretty impressive because on his pro day, he did the drills, the agile drills at 317, and now he's in the league at 345 in 2018 and showing no lateral movement skills or agility. So I felt that was interesting, but more from his interview today. Basically talking about medical things like that, but also I felt it was interesting that he mentioned Brandon Parker today as a swing tackle, not as a right tackle or whatnot, but just as a swing tackle. So I thought that was interesting. So there's some pretty cool stuff. Check out that interview, Eddie Pascal. It was about 5 or maybe 6, 7 hours ago now, the interview with Mayock. And Mayock kind of just cleaned up his original press conference. But I got a lot out of it. I mean, the stuff with Jared Jones, some of the research that I did with him, I felt some of that stuff was interesting. Some of the stuff with the defensive tackle. Or the other nugget that came out was talking about the Leo position and how he described his defensive ends. And basically said, we have Farrell and Max, which are real big, strong defensive ends, and how Clinton could kick inside a 3 technique and that type of thing. And he talked about Yannick as the Leo. I think we all know that Yannick's going to be the Leo and what that requires and why they wanted him. They wanted him a fast speed rusher that could really challenge, basically the outside shoulder, or basically challenge that offensive tackle and put pressure on the quarterback in that way. And so that's what they wanted. But he also said, we're not done here yet. We still need to get better. And that's what brings me. That's why I thought, tonight might be a good night to talk about the Leo position. The very first segment I did was, video I did was about the Leo position and asking the question if Crosby was the guy or not. Then I started I've been talking about Azeez Ojulari for a month and a half now. And on the second to last video I did, was titled Outside Linebacker versus Edge. And I keep coming back to Azeez as a possible first-round pick for the Raiders. In fact, I would love if the Raiders picked him because his comp is Yannick. And so what I wanted to do is look at players, sort of what I did for the for the outside linebacker and edge. I looked for either outside linebackers that could eventually play the Leo position for us, or I looked at, as a outside linebacker, somebody that could play the same position and then go into our linebacker position. So somebody that could do more than just the one position we have a need now. So we have a same linebacker position or a stand-up edge position right now that we don't have currently on the team. My thought is Azeez Ojulari is the best one for that. He's also the best outside pass rusher. He has a 1-6-10 split, which is extremely quick. He's got the first step move. He's got the pass rush moves. He's got the strength. He can drop into coverage. He would be perfect for that position. But what my thought process was, we should also be thinking of the future and find somebody that can play that Leo spot to either back up Yannick or to eventually take his place if need be, if he doesn't sign after 2 years. So Azeez is the perfect fit for that. And so that's why I still have him. And I think an article came out, or a mock draft came out the other day, basically talking about Azeez as a possible pick for us, which, I've been talking about that for quite a while now. And after Mayock's comments today, it still seems like it might be a likely or possible scenario, I should say. So I thought that was interesting. And then, I also broke down, linebackers that could be our future linebackers, that type of thing. I haven't put Micah Parsons in a lot of these, only because I just don't feel that he's going to be there at 17. If he is, of course, I'd say take him. He can do these things. But I don't see how 16 teams are going to pass him up. I just honestly, I can't fathom that. Another guy that could potentially play the Leo down the road for us is Joseph Osai. He'd be a project, no doubt, but he has the physical skill set to be able to do it. the motor to be able to do it, and just somebody I've talked about for quite a long time. And then Joe Tryon's the other one that I felt that, and all three of the guys I just mentioned, Aziz, Joseph, and Tryon could come in immediately and play our Sam position, but also with the thought process that eventually take over that Leo position, which is hugely important. Then I kind of just started wondering about what he said, the speed rusher. And so I've got a group of players here that I think later in the draft we could get as potential Leos. So I wouldn't want to sort of maybe use a high draft pick on somebody that's not going to play right away just to sit. So I kind of look later in the draft as a possible, backup to Yannick and a future Leo for the team. But then he said speed rusher, and I kind of was like, you know what? My whole thought process was to get guys that could, eventually grow into certain roles and that type of thing. But if you just wanted a speed rusher, that would be interesting. I'll talk about a couple speed rushers as well that I think might fit. But another guy I think we could get maybe in the fourth round or so is Patrick Jones. And I'm sorry I don't have his picture on here, but I've put his picture on before. I've talked about him quite a bit. He doesn't necessarily have all the physical tools, but he made so many plays. His best production was in the fourth quarter and overtime for Pittsburgh. He was incredible. And I think he's somebody that definitely could develop with the right coach. He's 6'4", 261, almost an 80-inch wingspan, a 10-foot vert. He didn't do a lot of the drills at the pro day. Did 22 reps, 31.5 vert. So not as athletic as you might want, but again, we didn't get to see his full pro day, but just his ability to impact the game late was something that I think we desperately need and somebody we could consider. I think he's probably going to be a fourth rounder, so maybe too early for this. Another guy that's really good is Joseph Kanderai. I'm not sure how to say his last name, but he's with Florida State. A lot of the draft boards have him going like 162 to 209. I feel he's probably going to be a fifth-round pick. Did all right at the Senior Bowl. He's 6'5", 260, 34-inch arms, 9.5 hands, 81 wing. 470 40 time, 36.5 vert, 10.5 broad jump, 438 short shuttle, 721, 3 cone and 21 reps. But just a productive player for Florida State. Can stand up, put his hand in the dirt. Could definitely learn and grow into the Leo position and be a good player for us. The next guy is also out of FSU. Is one of my favorite players in the draft. I think he's going to be a fantastic pro. He had a good Senior Bowl as well. So I think it's definitely somebody that could get the job done for us. 6'5", 263, extremely long arms, 35 and a quarter, big hands, 10 and 7/8, 86 wingspan, 470 40, 34 vert, 10-1 broad jump, 440 short shuttle, and 731, but also 25 reps on the bench. So he's super strong. You see his arms. Definitely somebody with the Leo traits. I'd like to see a little bit more speed out of him, but I think in general he could be a weak side run defender. And he actually, when I watched him play, seemed to play faster than what I'm seeing on the pro day numbers. So I'm not sure. Maybe I would probably say, because Yannick plays around 250, 255, I would probably say if he dropped for the Leo position 10 pounds, he probably would gain the speed and probably would be perfect. But his physical traits are perfect. He was a productive player for FSU. Draft boards have him going 176 to 193, so somewhere in that range. I think he might jump to the fourth, but I have him down as a fifth possibly. So then we get to more of a couple of the speed rushers that I want to talk about. But first, I'll mention some of the guys that were at the Senior Bowl that did well, like Roche out of Miami, Shaka Tooney out of Penn State, Jonathan Cooper out of Ohio State, which I know Jonathan Cooper, I was actually talking with the Raiders quite a bit there at the Senior Bowl. So if you're going to mark a speed rusher down, maybe mark him down, because one, Ohio State, and two, at the Senior Bowl, the Raiders coaches were talking to him. So Ellerson Smith out of Northern Iowa. I have Perkins out of Oklahoma as a speed rusher. I know some people have him as more than that. I just didn't like some of the stuff I saw, maybe the run game, and I don't know. To me, he just looked more just like a pure pass rusher. William Bradley King out of Baylor, Teron Jackson out of Eastern Carolina, Hamilcar Richard out of Oregon State. Those are some of those are the guys I think are just the speed rushers. And I didn't really include them on a lot of my, like when I did the Ford technique breakdown, or I did the Leo breakdown like I just did, or I did the Sam breakdown, because I don't think they can drop in coverage. So I just didn't see them as growing into a different position besides just a speed rusher. So I kind of just left them off, and I didn't really map them out for the Raiders. And That's just my thought process. I'm not sure now that I see Mayock's comments about needing to get better, just pure speed off the edge. So they might actually be considering one of these other guys. So as you put your draft plan together, take a look at what he had to say. Actually, I prefer my draft plan better, of course, as is everyone doing it. I think they should actually have a position that they can grow into, like a position like the Leo or the Sam or something like that. I think would add much more value to the team than just a pure speed rusher. But another guy that could do the speed rusher, and a guy I like, and didn't get as much tape on, but Malcolm Colsey, I think is how you say his last name, out of Buffalo. Big production out of Buffalo, high motor guy, 6'2", 249. Didn't do the drills because he got hurt before the Senior Bowl, so he kind of stayed out of the drills. 81-inch wingspan though, but big time production out of Buffalo. Stand-up edge rusher, definitely somebody could be disruptive, and I think we might be able to get him with his injury, 7th round, and maybe a UDFA guy, so it might not even cost us a draft pick to get him, so something like that. But again, my favorite guy for this type of position is Chris Rump. I talked to him about him the other night as a Sam, but mainly just as a disruptive player out of Duke. 6.5 sacks in 2020, but very productive. The guy would be an awesome spy for the Raiders, playing that sort of prowler role. And if they're all going to go straight speed rusher, I think Rump has more upside. I think he could eventually maybe get to the Leo spot, but definitely could play the Sam spot for us. I think he's more than just an edge rusher or speed rusher, but if you want a speed rusher, he gives you more upside. I think he's a better athlete than some of these other guys that I kind of read off earlier. So, anyways, that's all I got tonight. Interesting comments by Mayock. Take with it what you will. I think he was overselling. I think that from a tackle standpoint, I definitely think Dereshaw's in play because I think out of the top 4, he's the most athletic and he fits the traits for Cable the best. So, maybe kind of look at him as your first rounder if he's still there for our tackle, because I think maybe Jared Jones-Smith was a bit oversold. But we'll see. If Cable worked his magic, that'd be awesome. Keep an eye still on Baltimore or Ali McNeil, because Mayock was saying that they need to get better. He sees 3 nose tackles currently on the team, which is strange to me because I only see really 1 legit, but there are 2. I don't see a third. And they need to get after the pass rusher. And some of these guys have a longer career, but not as much production as you might want. So I still think there's an opening there for Barmore in the first round. Obviously, I think Aziz is a target for the first round. I think Morin's more of a target now, too, after his comments about just saying Jeff Heath's our free safety and no mention of Carl Joseph or Abram playing back there. I thought that was a little bit interesting. That might have been a little oversold as well. Not sure. But anyways, that's sort of my thoughts on sort of his interview and kind of a breakdown of the Leo position. Until next time, I'll go through the offense, and then we'll get ready to start putting some mock drafts together. So anyways, like always, please like, subscribe. Please keep sharing. Our subscribes are going up. Our comments are going up, which I really appreciate your comments. I did notice one about Barmore, and it's interesting about how he's not stopping the run game. And I agree, he's maybe not the best run defensive tackle, but Mayock specifically said we need to get after the quarterback from that position. So that's kind of my thought process, and he's the best one getting after the quarterback. As far as the run game, he did make at the right moments, he made the right plays in the run game during those championship games, those types of things. So, but yeah, that is his area of, I guess, weakness would be that, but it's because of his pad level, which is a good thing because we know how to, coaches will be able to fix it. It's not like he's a player that you're like, wow, I wonder why you can't stop the run. You know why you can't stop the run is because of his pad level. So with some really good coaching, he's young, some development, I think he'll get that down. That's the reason I think he's worthy of a 17th pick or somewhere in the first round pick, hopefully in the 20 to 25 range because I'm still team trade back. But I think just that fact that he's so young, he's so good at getting in the quarterback, it's obvious what his deficiencies are, and I think it's correctable. And I think once that happens, he'll be a dynamic tackle for us if we went that direction. So I guess those are my 4 or 5. Micah Parsons would be another one, and then Landon Dickerson could be a possibility as well, just because he's the perfect number one fit as a guard for Tom Cable. Don't think we'll go guard in the first round, but if we did, I believe that's who it would be. But anyways, those are just some of my thoughts right now going into the draft as we're putting things together. But please keep the comments coming. I really like to see what you guys have to say. Definitely appreciate the comments about the players, who you guys like to see come on for the Raiders, which positions, that type of thing. I definitely like to see what Raider Nation is saying out there. Obviously, I share my thoughts with you on what I think is good. So next time we come on, we'll talk about the offense. I'll go over maybe some tight ends to keep an eye on, some returners, some receivers, and maybe even throw in a couple UDFA possible quarterbacks for the Raiders as well. So until next time, thanks for tuning in. This is Raider Sparks, and you guys have a good night.